Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us here on Nile Cruise. Time now to introduce you another distinguished conservator. He is Mahmoud Fathy, Coservator Mahmoud Fathy, coming to you from the Grand Egyptian Museum near the pyramids of Giza, at the site of the Giza Plateau. Thank you very much, Mahmoud, for joining us. I want to start with you by talking about the latest discovery, that big discovery that caught the attention of the whole world. The 30 coffins in Luxor that were found in good shape. Yeah. Talk to us about that significance of that important discovery, yes. First of all.
Exactly, as you say, the Egyptian civilization is always give us new discoveries from time to time, and as you said, these 30 coffins, they are very gorgeous coffins. They are in a very good states, and they will inspire the scholars just to study more and more. And maybe it can just solve and complete these missing rings in the history. As you know, that Egyptian civilization and Egyptian history is very, very long history, and it needs more and more of studies just to fill the gaps of the history, just to know more and more about the Egyptian history. And this is always, as you say, that this is very, very gorgeous coffins and can tell us lots of information about the
right,
Egyptian
Mahmoud. I got the sense that you had a passion for Egyptology since you were very young. Tell me if I'm wrong, and
yes,
and if I'm right, tell me when did that start and how?
From very young, from my age, I was fond of the Egyptian history and the history in general, and especially the Egyptian history. And when I was in the secondary school, I was searching for a career, just to work and to study, and I was wondering which career that can gather the history and the science as well, because I was fond of the chemistry and the biology and those science. And when I went to the archaeology, the faculty of archaeology, I found that this conservation is the career that gather the science and the history as well.
Very
because,
true.
Yeah, we are studying chemistry and biology and physics, and also we are studying the history in the several stages, like pharaonic history and Islamic history. And I was fond of the pharaonic history because it's full of mysterious issues. So, and you know that the mysterious issues can bring the curiosity of the people. So I was
very true.
Yeah. I was very interesting just to study this career, the conservation, and go deep in the history of Egyptian civilization. And also my love is the chemistry and the biology and the science as well.
So Mahmoud, tell me, do you see yourself more as a doctor, like a doctor to humans, or an engineer, or a mechanic to cars? I mean, your job, how do you see yourself?
The very interesting thing in my job, it's you are picking all of these issues. I can say that the conservation is the whole science. It's not just the mechanic, it's not just the science, it's also the history. So we are working with the machines as well, like very mechanical machines that just to conserve the object and to restore the art objects. So we are also studying everything. I think I can imagine that the 4 years in the faculty is not enough.
Yeah.
So most of the conservators are just going, after they study, they have a post studies like a master and a PhD, just to go deep and study more and more about the different careers in the conservation of the artifacts.
So tell me, does your heart beat when you see an important monument, a colossal one like the King Ramses II statue being moved, for instance, from one place to a place, and because you want the things to remain intact, and the treasures to remain treasures?
Yes.
Does your heart beat when that stuff happens?
Yes, that's totally true. That you are just,
or when you touch a piece and you're working on it.
Yes. When I was in my study in the faculty, I was going to the Egyptian Museum just to see the object. So you can see that this is something very passionate. This is something very close to your heart. you're feeling this, they are very close to you, and
Yeah.
you are eager just to work on them and to conserve them and make them live more and more years, just to be other civilizations, other generations, just to inspire them with new things. And also the museums, it's not just for to be a place for artifacts, also it's place for joining the community with their history and also with their future as well.
Tell me, Mohamed, how do you think the Grand Egyptian Museum, this big cultural city or land of challenges, as some analysts describe it, will be different from the Coptic Museum, the Islamic Museum, the Tahrir Museum, and so on?
No doubt that we are very proud of all the museums in Egypt.
Absolutely.
Yes, but the Grand Egyptian Museum, as you said, this is a challenging project. It's very, very big. When I was talking with my colleagues in Germany and in the different countries, they are looking to the museum as it's really very big project. How you will make that? And this is something make us very, very proud of this project. And in my opinion, the first priority and the first thing that the museum will do is joining the community with each other and with the history as well. Not just the Egyptian community, also with the other communities from outside. And this is really very, very big. The challenge is it's very, very big. It's a grant. So it will collect lots and lots of objects. And the challenge is just making the tourists,
yeah,
and also the Egyptian looking for the object inside and go and don't feel any boring time inside it. So I think we will succeed in this mission.
Inshallah, God willing. Mahmoud, some artifacts are made of organic and others non-organic materials. What are the difficulties of dealing with each type of
in my opinion, the organic materials are very sensitive, like the textile, like the wood, and they are very, very sensitive just for the humidity and temperature, and most of them are very fragile. So they need very talented conservators and need lots of studies just to know which materials that you should choose and work on it. This is the organic materials. The inorganic materials is more durable, but also in some cases they are very, very fragile. For example, the metal object. The metal object is suffering from the corrosion. So the corrosion made the object very, very fragile. It needs lots of caution and lots of study just to know which material that you should choose and work, and not just to be beautiful object, but also to be more durable and can live more and more years for the other generations.
Right. Mahmoud, how many wooden artifacts have you personally worked on in your lifetime?
For me, I'm not working in the wooden artifacts. I'm working in the metal artifacts.
Okay.
I'm working from 2 years ago in the Egyptian, here in the Conservation Center. I've worked in more than 100 objects, different sizes and different situations, different cases. Like some objects are very, very fragile. They are suffering from very hard corrosion, and this will take lots of time. And other objects, they are very durable and a very beautiful case and a very good case, so they are not need lots of interfering from my side. I'm just keeping it just to make sure it's in a good state, and then I send it.
Did it happen to you that you saw a certain monument and you said, no, it's going to be impossible to work on this?
For me, I didn't face this situation, but in some cases, for example, these days I'm working in a double crown. It's made of silver and also gold, and it's really very, very fragile. and in some other years they made it conservation for it, but in different way. So the challenge here is just to make it more durable and in a good state, and also don't harm the metal itself. This is a hard situation, but I think, in my opinion, nothing impossible.
Great. Mahmoud, other than passion, I guess, for the field and patience, I guess, as well, what are the main qualifications that you think must be there in a conservator?
In my opinion, the conservator must have the talent to be conservator. He must love the artifact and the arts. This is first. And the second thing is the other qualification is also the study. Because as we said in the beginning, you are studying science, chemistry, biology, physics. This is the other qualification. The third one is the experience. You must have enough experience just to work with the object, because it's not just something that you will make a fault and you will solve it easily. No, it's something very hard. So it needs experience. And the faculty is giving us this little experience, and the more experience you get it from the work field itself. This, in my opinion, this is the qualification of the conservator, and the patient as well. You must be very, very patient, because if you are making everything with rush, with hurry, you will destroy everything. So you have to be very, very patient with the work, with the artifacts.
Absolutely. Mahmoud, tell me about the main sections that are supposed to be here at the Grand Egyptian Museum. The divide, I mean, the departments, the classifications of monuments that are planned to be here.
In the conservation center, we have you start with the organic materials. It's working with textile, and in some parts with very fragile wood. Also, we have also other department with the wood, just for the wood, and the other department is for the human remains. It's working with the mummies and those birds that mummified. And the third department is the inorganic, and this working with the ceramic, the metals, the pottery, and also we have the stone department. It's working with stone objects like different sizes, but for the small objects more, and the medium object. And also we have the heavy object department. It's working with the colossal, with the very big statues and the stone objects.
Right. Mahmoud, usually the pieces that you have worked on, do they take a lot of time to finish, like months, years, or do they take much lesser time, like hours or days?
Yeah, when we received the object, we started with study the object. We are searching in the database of the museum about the object, the number of the object, what's the previous works that happened to the object, and then we're making a plan to restore and conserve the object. This plan is contain the time estimation. The time estimation to work on the object, it depends on the case of the object. Some objects are very strong, they are not need lots of interfering, because the good conservator is the less one that he interfere in the object, but he makes it live more time. And some objects are very fragile, they need lots of patience, as we said, so they need lots and lots of time with a lots of caution as well. So it depends on the case of the object. Some object can take a week, and some object can take a year.
Mahmoud, tell me, are you getting help from recent technological advancements when it comes to restoration or conservation, or does the nature of conservation go against technology, because it's something that's really historic? So you tell us.
Yeah, this is something interesting in the conservation. you are working in a very historical object, very old object, but at the same time you have to be updated with the very new technologies. This is something, it seems at the beginning it's weird, but it's not weird because, for example, we have studies in the nanotechnology. The nanotechnology is very recent, but when you listen to nanotechnology, yes, this is something very far away from the history. But no, we are using these nanotechnology materials just to restore the object, just to make it very durable without harming the object itself and without to be appear at the surface of the object. But something behind, it's something inside the pores of the material, but it makes it very strong and live more and more. Not just the nanotechnology, also the materials, the machines. We're using very recent machines and very updated machines. This is something very interesting in the conservation.
Thank you very much, Mahmoud Fathy. I've enjoyed listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mahmoud Fathy,
Thank you.
for hosting us here at the Grand Egyptian Museum. Dear viewers, Nile Cruise will be back momentarily, so please don't go away.